A few of you have been asking me if I bought any new perfumes in January, and in fact I did buy some new perfumes in January. For those of you who are new here, my name is Cherie and I talk mostly about perfume on this channel, although I talk about other things as well sometimes. And last year I did a no-buy year with regards to specifically perfume, but also a few other things as well. And I would say overall that year was pretty successful, and it really did, I think, break the compulsive shopping habit that I had developed in relation to perfume. And so today I want to share with you the few new additions to my perfume wardrobe in January. Okay, so the first few are travel sizes, and they're ones that I hadn't really anticipated. They weren't on my wish list or anything like that. I, as you know, am a bit of a fan of Tion Reintel perfumes. She's a natural perfumer based here in Queensland, and I went onto her website just to have a look. It had been ages since I'd looked through her website, because usually when I troll through her website there's something that catches my eye. And so for the course of the no-buy year, I'd kind of been avoiding going onto her website because for whatever reason I have a weakness for her website. It's possible that that's just because she is local and I want to support a local perfumer, but I also really obviously love her perfumes as well. So I bought 3 of her perfume pencils. They're a 10 ml size, so they're kind of a travel size, I guess. The first one I bought is Elise, I think that's how you say it. And this one is a spicy, I think she describes it as being a woody amber. I find it more of a spicy amber than necessarily a woody amber.
I mean, obviously Tion is the perfumer, so if she says it's a woody amber, then it's a woody amber. I'm just trying to convey how it smells to me, and the woody notes didn't really jump out at me as much as those spicy notes did.
But there's obviously woody notes in here, but they're not super overt in terms of their woodiness. They're not super dry or anything like that, although there is a dryness to this, but to me I feel like that comes from the spices. This, I think, is based on a fragrance she used to have in her line, which I think was called East Winds or Trade Winds or something like that, and it's basically centered, the inspiration is the spice root. So it's an ambery perfume. The amber is sweet but not syrupy, and the spices are very dry and complex, I feel, in here. And it's just overall a really pleasant perfume to wear if you like spicy ambery fragrances. I have really enjoyed wearing this so far. The next one is called Honey Amber. I think Claire from Smurfy Girly has talked about this one quite a bit. This one was actually a mistake. I didn't mean to buy this one because I had been, as I'd been trawling through her website, I was adding things to the cart to sort of think through what I wanted. And then when I processed the order, I sort of looked at it and went, oh, that was more than I expected it was going to be. And so I went back through and I realized that I had left this in the cart, and even though I had originally thought I might take it out. And this one is I guess it's a sweet ambery fragrance. It does have a prominent honey note. The honey note is not dirty, or, you know how honey notes can sometimes be difficult for me. But this one is very beautiful. It's very smooth and sweet, but again, I don't find it to be particularly syrupy, which is good. And then it also has Tion's sort of signature amber base. So I am actually, even though I didn't mean to buy this one, and I could have corrected it, or I could have probably have sent it back to her if once I'd received it, just explaining that I had mistakenly ordered it. But in the end, I was happy to keep it because I'm actually quite enjoying it, and I think I'll really enjoy wearing this in winter time. I find this to be a really comforting scent, so I think it'll be nice to wear sort of as a bedtime scent or evening scent when the cooler months roll around. And then finally, the third one that I purchased is called Heartache of the Huame. This is more of a floral fragrance, and the inspiration for this one is quite sad, actually. The story of the inspiration for this one is about the Huame bird, which songbirds, which were traditionally kept as pets during the Ming Dynasty, and they were always caged. And apparently the practice of keeping these birds as caged pets continues. I mean, lots of birds get kept in cages as pets around the world, but I don't know, there was something that really made me sad about this one, or just reading the story, which I guess is the intent, is to portray this sad story. And as you read the story on her website, she extrapolates this, you know, the imagery and the symbolism of these songbirds that are kept in cages, and translates it to human life, and how we manage to build our own cages, and how society also creates rules and restrictions on how we live our lives, and what our lives should look like, you know. So, I mean, I'm probably butchering that whole story. The way Tione has written it on her website is actually beautiful, and I really enjoyed reading it. Obviously, since I'm prattling on about it now, but I encourage, if you're interested in the story, I encourage you to go check out the website and read her beautiful writing, rather than listen to the ramblings of a very inarticulate fraghead. Okay, so what does it actually smell like? This is definitely more of a floral fragrance, and a lot of the fragrances that I have from Tione they all have an ambery base to them. So there's a lot of connectivity between all of the fragrances that I have bought from Tione to date, and that's purely because a lot of them have this common element of her sort of what I consider to be her signature amber base. This one does not have that, so it's quite a departure from the types of fragrances that I'm familiar with from her, and it's absolutely beautiful. When I first smell it, what I get straight up is I get a rose element and a bit of powderiness. I think it might be violet and orris in here. I definitely feel I get an irisy vibe. And when I spray it on skin, the opening is very bright and sort of citrusy. It's a little bit zesty. I think there's a yuzu note in here, and there's also lemon. So that opening is very bright, but it sort of settles very quickly, and very quickly you start to get these more floral elements coming through. There's also an earthiness to it as well that almost leans a little bit dusty, but it's not super dusty and it's not super earthy. It's just like a hint of it, and it seems to help, you know, contain that really bright opening a little bit, and also I guess supports the florals that are in here as well. As it dries down, now I know I said this doesn't have her amber base in it, but as it dries down, to me, it does seem to develop a little bit of an amberiness to it, and it also becomes more spicy in the dry down as well. There's definitely some dry spices in here, you know, like the dry brown spices, like maybe cinnamon and nutmeg. Not so much cinnamon, I think maybe there is nutmeg in here. And then there's also sort of a frankincense in here as well. So it's just overall, I mean, I've just thrown a bunch of notes at you, but overall it reads to me as a bright, citrusy, sort of zingy opening that very quickly settles and becomes more of an earthy floral that's a little bit powdery, a little bit almost vegetal, and it smells very natural. And I guess that makes sense because it is a natural perfume. And then as it dries down further, I feel like it develops like an amberiness, but it's not dark. It's very light and very translucent, and it's very subtle. It's really beautiful. I love it. Anyway, so that is Heartache of Kwame. I've been really enjoying this one, and it's been perfect for warmer weather as well, because it's still got those beautiful florals. It's not too sweet, and it's not too heavy. So it's gorgeous. All right, so that is it for the Tione Reintel fragrances. The next perfume I bought in late January was a full bottle of Moonlight in Chiang Mai by Dusita Parfums. When I first smelled this fragrance a couple of years ago, I didn't think I would buy this one. I didn't think I needed or wanted this one as a full bottle. I did appreciate that I really liked it, but there were elements of it that I sort of thought that's not really the type of perfume I would normally buy, so I don't really need to own this one. But then I did have some travel sizes of this, and this summer I have really gotten into wearing this. I mean, obviously, you know, I'm a massive fan of Fleur de Lolita, which I got for Christmas, and I've worn that so much already. There's quite a dent in that bottle already, and I I've also been wearing this one as the travel size, and my travel sizes were running. I had like a couple of drops left in one of my travel sizes. I'd already decided that I kind of wanted to upgrade this one, and I had been keeping an eye out in the Facebook groups to see if anyone was selling a bottle. Ironically, almost immediately after I purchased this, somebody did post a bottle of this in the Facebook group. Never mind, that's okay, I missed out on that one. I also did have a voucher for Dusita because they had sent me a sample of their La Rhapsodie Noir, and with that they had sent me a little voucher to use. So I decided to use that voucher, and that voucher expires at the end of this month. So I decided to use that with the February special to get this plus a 15ml. And the 15ml bottle that I chose is Melody de l'Amour, which, as you know, if you've been watching sort of in recent months, this is another one that I'm absolutely lusting after. And I had already used up my travel sizes of this. Melody is a very big tuberose and gardenia focused fragrance. It's absolutely beautiful. I do remember when I was talking about this recently in one of my videos, I think around Christmas time, I think it might have been my wish list video, and somebody had said that they wanted to really like that one, but it smelled like mothballs on them. And it was one of those things where as soon as they said that, I was like, I kind of get what you mean, but at the same time, I don't think it smells like mothballs. It just, but it does smell like a perfume of a different era. But rather than smelling like mothballs to me, what I get is the smell of it reminds me of being in, say, my grandmother's house where she used mothballs, if you know what I mean. Like this smell is a very classic, old school white floral perfume, and I still really love it. But I'm really glad I had the opportunity to get the 15ml of this to just wear it a bit more before I make the full commitment on the bottle, because now that thing has been planted. And whoever said that, if you're watching this, don't worry, you haven't ruined it for me. It's just, you know, it did make me sort of do a double take and go, oh, maybe it's not something I necessarily want to be wearing all the time. Anyway, so those are those two. Oh, I should circle back to Moonlight in Chiang Mai. I did do a live stream with Eve from Eve Spider Smells. I think it was back in 2020, and we talked about this fragrance because it was a new release at the time, and we went into quite a bit of detail talking about this one. What I really love about this fragrance and what ultimately got me over the line to buy it was the teakwood note in here. It's just beautiful, and it prompts so many memories for me because I have done a lot of traveling through Asia, and this is the smell of Asia for me. You know, it's fruits, tropical fruits, a little bit of smokiness, and this beautiful teakwood note where it just reminds me of, you know, Bali and being in the markets in Vietnam and things like that, where they just have all these beautiful wooden trinkets or, you know, teakwood furniture, but you've got this tropical fruit element mixed in with it as well. And I am definitely leaning towards more sweeter scents at the moment, so this just works so beautifully for me, and it does work so well in our summer. So I'm very, very pleased with this purchase. Next up is one that I didn't actually purchase. This was sent to me as PR for a Valentine's Day campaign. This is Lady Vengeance by Juliette Has A Gun. You know, and I never really had this on my radar. And I guess you could say, it's fair to say that I haven't had a lot of Juliette Has A Gun fragrances on my radar because I tried them, you know, several years ago. I think I bought the Discovery set, and you know, I liked them, but there was nothing really that grabbed me. And then the only sample from that Discovery set that I actually used up was Sunny Side Up, and I now have a decant of that I've been working through because I'm sort of on the fence as to whether or not I want to buy that. That one is a really beautiful, slightly lactonic, musky, slightly woody scent. So it's really great for, you know, just wanting to smell clean and fresh. This one is a rose patchouli scent, and I have to say I had never I think this was in my discovery set, and I don't know if I ever even sampled it. Possibly I ignored it because the time that I had the discovery set, I sort of wasn't really into rose that much, so I may have just bypassed it altogether. Rookie mistake. But this I really actually enjoy. I didn't know what I was going to be sent as part of this campaign that we did, and I'm really enjoying this. It's got a really beautiful sort of sweet jammy rose in there, but it's tempered by this really dark sultry sort of woodiness and a little bit of earthiness as well, which it's a rose patchouli scent. But when I think about my other, what I would consider to be my other favorite rose patchouli scent, which is Eau Capitale by Diptyque, that one, the rose isn't as sweet as it is in here. And Eau Capitale also doesn't feel as dark to me as this one does. So this one brings an element of, I guess, sultriness and seductiveness that Eau Capitale doesn't have for me, which Eau Capitale is still one of my, I'd say I love them both probably equally, but Eau Capitale is one that I would wear for different occasions. I'd wear Eau Capitale probably more to work and things like that. This one is totally wearable during the day because there is a freshness to it and it's really light, even though it sort of just has this dark evening sort of type of feel to it, very formal sort of feel to it, and kind of almost a soapiness too, now that I think about it. But yeah, as I say, Eau Capitale is more of a really sort of warm daytime or go to work sort of scent to me, whereas this one I feel is a little bit darker, and it's just got that a little bit more of that sweetness from the rose, or what, there's a raspberry note in here too, I think, so that's where that sweetness probably comes from. And I think that just adds a little bit more of that romantic vibe to it. So it was the perfect thing for them to send me for a Valentine's Day campaign, put it that way. Anyway, I really like this one. I've been wearing it quite a bit over the last few weeks, and I will continue to do so. And then finally, the last one that I bought literally, I think, on the last day of January. I have been going on and on and on about my decant of Memoir Woman and how I was so anxious about the fact that I was getting to the end of it, because I really, really love that fragrance. And lo and behold, I did finish up that decant and I was really missing it. So in late January, I jumped on the Facebook group to see if anyone was trying to sell a bottle of this, and someone was, so I bought it, and here we are. So I finally have a full bottle of Memoir Woman by Amouage. Now, I think in a previous video, I had described this as ambery. There is an ambery element to this, but it's unlike any other ambery element you might have smelled. But first and foremost, this is really a chypre. It's kind of got a bit of a sweetness and fruitiness in the opening that's blended in with these really sort of dark, mossy, moody type of elements. Very earthy as well. Not earthy as in it smells like dirt, but it does remind you definitely of a forest or something with a mossy undergrowth. Anyway, I love it. I've talked about it heaps before, so I'm not going to ramble on about it now, but I'm very, very happy to finally have this one in my wardrobe because, you know, I've worn quite a bit of it already over the last couple of years, so it's time. It's time to have the full bottle. So that was quite a big month. I mean, actually to me, this sort of felt very extravagant at the time, even though it's fairly tame comparatively to how I was before my no-buy year. This feels like a lot. I feel like I've had a wall of perfume coming at me for the past month. So it's been very enjoyable. I've enjoyed having these newbies in my wardrobe. I am still definitely considering purchasing a bottle of Victoria from Frasai. That one I'm just extremely taken with, and I can't seem to get it out of my head. And I've just saved a tiny, tiny bit of the sample that I have so that I can just return to it. But I think there's a good chance that one is going to be bought in February. I am faced with a little bit of a dilemma at the moment, and that is because Matt and I have decided to get married this year, and it's a bit of a spur of the moment thing. Neither of us sort of envisaged that it was going to be now, and we had a holiday planned later this year anyway, so we've decided to combine the holiday with a wedding and basically do a bit of an elopement, I guess you could say. And I'm currently facing this dilemma of not wanting to buy lots and lots of perfume, but also feeling like I want to explore the option to find a wedding scent. There are many perfumes in my current wardrobe that I adore and that I would be happy to wear as a wedding perfume. But part of me, there is a little part of me that sort of thinks maybe I should buy something new that I'm not familiar with, that I haven't worn before, so that I can create a new scent memory. However, that said, I think it's very possible to create new scent memories with perfumes you already have, and that they can become special just by virtue of how you wear them or the circumstance that you wear them in. So I don't know, I'm on the fence about buying a different perfume just for my wedding day, or whether I just wear something that I have in my wardrobe that I already love and that I enjoy wearing and that I know fits me. So anyway, I wasn't going to mention the fact that we're getting married yet, at least, but I'm curious to get feedback from my trusted people to sort of help me decide whether or not I should buy a new perfume. I feel like this is something that could send me down a slippery slope of spending lots of money on buying samples and decants so that I can smell things that maybe aren't readily available here in Australia. And yeah, I feel like that would be counterintuitive to the year that I've just had. So, and also weddings are expensive. Even if you're doing a low-key wedding, which we definitely are, it's still expensive. So, and so I'm just conscious that I don't really want to be, I don't know, going too far off the rails with buying perfume under the proviso that, you know, I'm researching wedding scents, you know what I mean? So anyway, that was my little thought bubble for the day. This has been a very relaxed video. I hope you enjoyed it. I do apologize for the fact that I haven't been as consistent with uploading lately, particularly to the newcomers who probably were expecting a lot more from me. But yeah, things have slowed down quite a bit just because work is really ramped up, but also this whole wedding thing has thrown me into a little bit of a to just try and get things organized and booked in. And then once all that's done, and I think we're almost there, but once all that's done, it should be fairly straightforward and I can return to my usual regular schedule. So, but anyway, thank you so much for your patience. So please do give this a thumbs up if you enjoyed this, and subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you again soon. Bye-bye.